Hey, what's going on? It's your boy Coach here, and it's officially begun the Xform series. So we're very excited for this. Happy to say that the apocalypse diet is officially done. I'm very glad that I'm not gaining fat anymore because I put on quite a bit. A lot of health things came up out of that process, pre-diabetic, number of conditions that I'm happy to start to alleviate just because this is very tolling, psychologically challenging, physiologically challenging. It's not a fun place to be. Also a little nervous, which just means I really care about this and really how it turns out, and if it's helpful to others, because that's really my overall goal and purpose in this. Okay, so today's not my official weigh-in. Really, this is what I call day zero. I have the scale here. We'll be getting on this tomorrow, but this morning I was a little over 200 pounds, and that's a lot for me. And now this is no different than the old me. It's about where I was right when I started this journey. And I did my in-body yesterday, which I was 195, so I'm really not 200. That's quite a bit of water weight based on the food I had yesterday. Day zero is kind of my way of kind of pre-planning. It's mentally getting ready to do this journey because today's Sunday, and usually Monday mornings for most people, hey, that's the start of the week, right? We go to work, most of us, or have some routine where we go here or there, and a week is mostly what I call a pretty good routine to measure and make differences by each week. Each day can change so much, so that's why I don't like doing daily things in some senses, but there are things we do in a day that can become habitual, let's say over time. Like Mondays, I may do this gym routine every Monday, and that's fine. But then when you have, say, an environmental change, can you still do that Monday? And that's some of the things that we'll get into down the road. The whole point of the apocalypse diet was to go back to my old self. It was to do nutrition the way I used to always live it. So there's this maybe misconception of what I'm gonna be doing in this Xform series, and it could be compared to, say, the Fit to Fat to Fit. There's some differences, but there's a lot of similarities. And if you go check that out, Drew Manning has a channel on it. I think it can be very useful for some. As a matter of fact, tens of thousands of people have made life change on it, right? How many have stuck over the years? I couldn't say. I don't know if there's data on that, but what's most important is that people have at least maybe been enlightened, or they've made their life a little bit better, which is the same goal of all this. And that system itself by Drew Manning, I have a lot of, say, respect and a lot of, say, admiration for someone to come out of that comfort zone after living such a very healthy life, and then just to make a drastic change. It's not easy. And I didn't even I didn't go anywhere near as he did. He gained like 65, 70 pounds, and he did it twice. Let's just say this, I don't focus so much on the scale nowadays in my current lifestyle. It's really about how I look and feel. And that's very similar to how, say, Drew Manning in Fit to Fat to Fit, he presents that. And so there's gonna be a lot of commonalities between the two of us, but you're gonna see the differences as I go along each week. There is differences. In the end, what's gonna be very different too is our results. So Drew is gonna go back to, say, his physique in so much time, and it was very, very well done. He stayed disciplined. I've only watched a couple episodes. It was the ending episodes just to kind of see his mindset going through it. And really, it's that anticipation of getting back to where you were. And so for me, I'm hoping to be somewhere new. I'm hoping to be at my best self. And that's at the end of this journey. That's hopefully right in the beginning of May, where I'll have done all these series, taken on all this content over a year, and really just grown. That's been the whole purpose. That's my let's say self-motivations in doing a lot of this stuff. But on the other side, the results, could care less about, say, my physique. What's more important is I'd love to hear how your physique changed, what was different for you. My pictures don't really matter. I've done this many times. I think it's more important to say, go look at how you started, how you finished. Did any of these things help you? And that's what I call a results-driven program, is if you guys are getting the results. I do think there's limitations into how much weight you can gain in your, say, depending on the body type you have and genetics. So that's one limiter for me. But really, it was never about doing a similar system. That is to do some things a little bit different. Something that you can follow along with, something that you can get pointers, tips, and just not how I do things, but let's say this, how I think of things now, and hopefully change your mind. And that's really the point of this, is to change your mind on what health is and how to make, say, a healthier life. So those are just kind of some beginning things to go through, this little intro of what we can expect kind of coming up in Xform, and you're gonna see a lot of differences between, I would say, this and many other approaches. I'm not trying to be unique, it's just my philosophy. It's what I've come to accept to be truth, and how to help others. It's to be maybe a little more generic and more acceptant that we all just need something different. Because when we're trying to help others, there is no one way, there is no one path. We all have different paths, we all have different lives, and the best person to, say, make that change or start that change is within, and we have to listen to that voice. And if we're going on a path that doesn't make sense, then we have to question that and say, okay, does it make sense to be working out this hard and I'm miserable and I'm hungry? I don't think that's very effective. Maybe you find it effective and maybe you can keep that. And there are some that do that on the extremes, but the rest of us, maybe we need something that's like, you know what, we need more balance. We need a little more moderation. We need, say, less restriction. We need times of restriction, but not for the rest of our life, right? And we don't want to count calories the rest of our life. We don't live in the gym. You know, we do this as, say, something that's supposed to promote our overall health in all of those realms of body, mind, and soul. There's going to be those who have the goal to lose weight, the intentions, and then there's going to be those who start losing the weight and they actually commit. So in those two groups, the intentions, and then they don't start, they're going to fall away Jan 1 or 2. Now what's going to happen though with most of this population is they're going to say, okay, I need to eat right, I need to exercise, I need to change, you know, whatever, I need to take out fast food, I need to do all these measures, right? They have this big list of things they want to change right out the gate. And that's maybe effective for some people, but that's probably part of the reason most people fail, is because it's so many things. And if you write it down in a list and you try and change that much in your life, it's too much altercation. Therefore, you can't stick it. And maybe you're one of those personalities that can make that excessive change. You'd be what I'd call in one of those extreme categories, and that's fine. Just knowing that about yourself is fantastic. It just means that when you're trying to influence others, you can't tell them to do that. And that's the hard part about this. The rest of us live in the averages and we need slower change over time. You know, there's this problem with dieting and in fitness and calories in, calories out. There's a lot of things I tried, a lot of ways I failed, but in the failures where I found success. The Tform series, which if you're following along at the same time, you'll see that that was my, say, testing grounds, or the way that I knew that I had this baseline or this path that could help me regain, say, the health and the fitness that I had, that I always struggled to, say, get to or to make my goal. The process is very similar. There's gonna be a number of differences though, and we'll discuss those here in a minute about how this is different than that, and not that it's supposed to be better or worse, just it reaches, say, a different audience. So what I'm gonna be doing in week 0, pretty much, is one thing. I'm gonna start my daily walk again. I removed it. I had a couple walks here and there as we got towards the end of the apocalypse diet, but really it was something that it's not just for my physical, it's for my, say, psychological, my mental, my spiritual wellness. That walk, and I like it first thing in the morning when I can. If I can't make it happen in the morning, I make sure to get it in either the afternoon or the evening. And what that does is it helps me, say, stay in a good place. It helps me stay encouraged. It helps me grow. It helps me just remember the journey or what I'm doing this for, and really just kind of comprehend that. I strongly recommend making the first week goal is to pick one thing. It could be a daily walk like I'm doing, but it could be something else. It could just be making, say, the decision to eat a little bit healthier, meaning you change some of the nutrition choices. Maybe you eat out a little bit less and you have a little bit more, say, fresher or whole foods, whatever you want to do. But do you need to start calorie tracking this week? Maybe. I mean, that's one way. In the Tform series, one of the first things we do is start tracking food. In the Xform series, I'm really focused on habits, and I'm doing it a little bit different because this is gonna, say, make life change, and it's gonna take longer than Tform. If you do an Xform, in my opinion, this is gonna be a 1-year goal. This is not 3 to 6 months. This is a whole year of commitment. Now, are you gonna change one habit every 52 weeks? Not necessarily, because there's some habits that we start changing and maybe a month later they stick, but there's some that don't. And that's the ones like, let's say, in extreme dieting, or those groups that are attacking so many different things. 1 or 2 of them might stick, right? But then the rest of them fail off. And one of those 2 might stick for, say, 6 months until there's a point where we reverted and now they're gone. So was it a habit? Potentially. It just depends. So in order to, say, solidify a habit, we want to do multiple habits. We want to keep them as we go. And as all those habits start to melt together, that's where our lifestyle comes in. And like I said, that takes time. It's something that doesn't happen in a few months. And I've had guest speakers talk about this. It's really difficult to say, okay, I'm going to lose 30 pounds in 3 months. It's 10 pounds a month. That's a lot. 2.5 pounds a week. So you're probably not going to lose fat. You're going to lose probably lean tissue. It's not going to be this rate you can keep either. So that's the one thing too, is we want to do this nice and gradual. And one of the things I want to point out is that nutrition is kind of one of the focuses, right? It's just one of the places to start. And if you followed the Endless series, nutrition is one of our basic needs. And so that's why we kind of start there, or I like to start there, just because it's something you do every day. It's something you can change in your habits. It's a daily habit. a walk or working out or, you know, other things, or say a gym class, and there's other areas in that hierarchy that, you know, you can say make lifestyle change, but if you're not, say, doing them daily, then it's really hard. It's harder, let's say, to stick. Let's get ready for day one, which starts tomorrow, and we'll get a weigh-in and a physical look just to see, just to show you that this is not something that's been easy on me, and it's something that in order to make this journey, I have to be, say, ready to go. And I do have that. I have enough body fat to lose to where we can cover a number of topics. I can use this in terms of each week and how I slowly do this over time. I'm in no rush. I know a lot of people are going to expect, hey, cut the weight right away, get back to where I was. And that is not going to be effective for this, say, series and this overall message, because it's going to conflict. You're going to take time to do this. And if I happen to lose a little bit too fast, that means I need to bump the calories up. I need to take some things away, because you know what? That's not going to be effective, not just for you, but for me, because I've done that. And then what happens when I lose too fast is that I get hungrier, and there's just a lot of, it's just a domino effect down there. So we're going to try and do this. Like I said, this is going to be my last time to gain weight like this. I've done it over a number of years, and this is going to be it. I don't have any desire to go back this way. It has purpose though. So this is going to be my last, say, transformation. And from here on out, I really don't know what my life goals are. It's to finish the series, is to start, and then we'll see from there. So let's get ready. Let's get our minds in the right place. This is day 0. We're going to focus, and we're going to make sure that we're going to 100% concentrate on what we want to be in the end. And that's what I'm going to do today, is see the end in my mind, see where I want to get to, taking steps along the way. And then whether I get setbacks or I get areas where, you know, I push through a little bit easier, it doesn't matter. It's going to be all about the journey. And so that's what we're going to be doing, is focusing on the journey and just listening to our body and our mind, and making good decisions, making sure that we can keep going in the right direction. Day 1 of the Xform series. So we're going to get this initial weigh-in, just see where we're at. You can tell, definitely put on some weight. Today, what I want to talk about is an advantage, and something that is often misconstrued is the scale. The scale can fluctuate. I've done videos on that. Let's suppose my weight fluctuates, you know, 2 or 3 pounds within a day. If it goes down, I know I'm probably dehydrated. If it goes up, I'm overhydrated, or say have extra water. Especially like when you start losing weight over time, you're going to see that my weight isn't always going to be really, say, it's going to be slow and gradual, but it's not going to be this, you know, straight line. It's going to be up and down throughout the process. And so a lot of people put a lot of faith in what this number means and what it represents. So I like to use it just to know, you know, kind of where I'm at in terms of my overall hydration and feel. I really don't care what my weight is today. As a matter of fact, I hit 200 pounds yesterday morning, which is pretty high, but the day before I had a lot of movie popcorn and salt that day. There's a lot of people that just overly focus on the scale, and that's something you need to learn to let go of. So it's 195.8. So already, like I said, 4 pounds, just difference between yesterday morning. Let's get the waist measurement here, get the tape. 38 on the waist, 195.8 pounds. Picture's done, so let's just take it 1 week at a time. One of the first things, and this is my habit for this week, is to bring back my daily walk. Number 1, it's exercise. Number 2, walking is good for heart health. But more importantly, it's a great time for spiritual growth for me and mental growth. So I like to use, say, the first 25 minutes of this for spiritual growth and listen to some sort of message, something to help me improve, something to think about. Think of things in a different way, let's say, and better myself. That's the best way I can think of saying it. Mentally, I like to use this time also, maybe the second half, to either listen to some music to help me with mood, emotion, or sometimes just to unload ideas on my phone, or just to think about things I have coming up for the day or the week. I usually try and get my first one in the morning, not to get it out of the way, but to start my day on the right foot. It's really important for me. And so yeah, this week, in terms of nutrition, and there's other advantages we're gonna bring in at some point, but this is an advantage for me, is walking. This is something I could do for the rest of my life. And that's what's most important. Doesn't matter if I'm 70, 80 years old, this is something I'm gonna continue to do. Don't get me wrong, it's something that, it's not like I don't do it for the calorie burn, because I do. And actually, as we get deeper in and I go further along and start really pushing my potential, I'll integrate, say, 2 or 3 walks per day. And not that dividing them does any sort of benefit for more calories out, it's just based on my time and how I can squeeze these things in. Because when you're changing a lifestyle, you have to be, let's say, aware of other hats you wear, other things you have to do. And for me, I have a lot of them. So I'm just trying to make sure that I don't disrupt any of my other hats in terms of trying to make this overall change. What I like most about mornings is very peaceful. It's harder to get, say, footage when it's darker. I'll probably have a few more where we kind of take you along some of my, say, longer walks, but I like to progress this over time for, say, the exercise benefit, the calories out. But for right now, just getting started, just doing it every day is something that, like I said, I look forward to and I enjoy. And taking it away for a little bit was challenging because it was something I missed, and it's been really helpful. Just it's encouraging to start this first day, and starts me on the right foot. For the most part, many of us can walk. If you have injuries, it's something that's difficult. You don't have to go fast, start slow. Shorter distance, really just try and get something in, start somewhere. That's kind of the point today, is just start. You have to start. And if you're ready to start, we got a long way to go. So till the next one.